As we just showed you a couple of minutes ago, the cake debate at the U.S. Supreme Court drawing supporters of LGBT rights to Washington, D.C. today. Many of them say it's about a lot more than just a wedding cake. Joining us now live to talk about that and more, we welcome back our good friend Dr. Mark Caleb Smith, Director of the Center for Political Studies at Cedarville University. Mark, let's start with this wedding cake Supreme Court case. This strikes me as a classic U.S. Supreme Court case. You've got the rights of the couple hoping to be married on the LGBT side. On the other side, you've got the guy making the cake who has his very staunch religious rights. It'll be really interesting to see how the court lands on this one.
Yeah, it really will. As you said, this is sort of a classic case of clashing values. You know, on the one side, we have the couple. They're clinging to the principle of equality. They say we should be treated like everyone else. No one should be able to treat us differently. On the other side, you have this business owner who's claiming a religious exception. He's also claiming a speech issue here. And so are we going to value sort of the free exercise of religion plus the freedom of speech on the one hand, or the equality for the same-sex couple on the other? The Supreme Court has to make a decision even in these kinds of hard cases.
Mark, let's stay with the courts, kind of expand our discussion here. Of course, one of the lasting impacts any president has during his administration, his or her administration, is how they impact the courts. Let's talk about the impact of Donald Trump in that area so far. You've got Gorsuch already in place, possibly another U.S. position to be filled in the next 12 to 24 months. And the other thing that people really aren't talking about is all the federal court appointments that he's making. There have been quite a few, and he's making some progress there.
Yeah, there's no question about it. The Supreme Court, and in particular, and the federal judiciary in general, these are some of the areas where the president can have the longest lasting legacy. Those court appointments can sit on the bench for 10, 20, 30, sometimes 40 years on the federal bench, and they really don't leave, right? They're not elected. Only if they're impeached or decide to resign or they die in office do they really leave that bench. And so President Trump's legacy will long outlive his own term of office. He's been a little bit slow in his appointment process, which is a little bit of a surprise, I think, since the Republicans control the Senate. But I think that he is catching up. He's going to have a significant impact. Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court will make a decision, of course, in the case that we talked about just a few moments ago. He replaced Antonin Scalia on the bench. Gorsuch also appears to be pretty conservative. And so in that sense, Trump's legacy is even further cemented through Neil Gorsuch.
Mark, quickly, finally, we're exactly 1 week away from the special election in Alabama, the Senate race down there. The Republican Party suddenly now throwing their support behind Roy Moore when they were backing away from him. What's going to happen a week from today, do you think?
If I had to bet, I would think that Roy Moore will probably win that Senate seat in Alabama. And my guess is the Republican Party was watching the polls in order to determine whether or not they're going to back him. Regardless of whether you agree with Roy Moore or agree with his accusers, it doesn't exactly show the Republican Party is having a lot of principle on this issue. Just a bit ago, Leader McConnell was going to say we'll remove him from the Senate. Now he's just saying we'll leave it up to the voters of Alabama.
Yeah, they need his vote on the tax bill, obviously, but the long-term impact on the GOP, that's another question. Mark Caleb Smith, thank you so much. Always appreciate you.